See you guys in a few minutes. Good morning, everybody. How is it going? Happy Monday. It is 10:03 a.m. here in Florida, and I'm going to be hanging out with you guys for probably about 30 minutes to an hour. We'll see. Got some stuff I got to knock out this morning before I go pick up my daughter from school. So this might be a short one. It might be a little longer. We'll see. You guys know me. I don't plan anything. But speaking of plans, I have started to toy with the idea of turning Thursday streams into like a throwback Thursday stream where like last Thursday, for example, I played Shadows of the Empire for 2 hours. I beat the game in 2 hours. And it was fun to just kind of hang out on the chat and play a video game, you know, an old video game that I've been playing for almost 3 decades now. But I think I'm going to start doing that, man. And I think the game that I'm going to play this upcoming Thursday is Republic Commando. So my history with Republic Commando is almost non-existent. The only experience I have with Republic Commando is literally like 4 or 5 years ago. I did an hour-long live stream. And that's the only time I've ever touched that game. So this coming Thursday will basically be my first time playing. I'll just call it my first time playing Republic Commando. So yeah. Don't remember when that game came out, but I was doing other things from what I remember. But anyway, welcome. Let's hang out. Topic of conversation is Book of Boba Fett. As most of you know, we don't need to adhere to any topic of conversation. We always just go off on tangents here on these live streams. But predictions, gripes, thoughts, what are you liking? What are you not liking? Are you just along for the ride like me, man? But welcome, DMM, Mikkel, SP, Wilkins, Nut the Nerd, Evan Shea, Childish, Maxton, Parisian, Persian, DVS Lord, Robin. Good to see everybody. Eddie says, I envy those who find enjoyment in all these new releases. I'm a Star Wars fan, but can't relate to these cheap, lightweight, cheap characters. It's like recognized Star Wars stuff in them, but that's all. What do you mean, like the adherence and the desire to constantly go back to the familiar? Yeah, I mean, like, I don't find enjoyment in all modern Star Wars, right? I mean, I don't understand the crowd that just hates everything as soon as something is announced. Obviously, I firmly believe that is a lot due to the playing the old strings of the algorithm when it comes to outrage. But I also don't understand like this weird everything Star Wars is good crowd either. Like, I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. There's some Star Wars that I don't like, and there's some Star Wars that I do like. That was true 20 plus years ago, and it's true today. So, yeah. What's up, Philip? Gary Cooper actually really enjoyed episode 2. Hope it doesn't get too cameo heavy like Mandalorian season 2. No, I'm in complete agreement, man. The second episode was a lot of fun. I thought it was better than the first, and it got me even more excited to watch the show. And I'm 100% with you. Like, what brought The Mandalorian Season 2 down for me, and again, I really enjoyed it. It was great. But what kind of took it down a few notches for me was so many cameos, so many familiar faces. Bo-Katan, Ahsoka, Boba Fett pops up, you know, in Mandalorian Season 2. And what I really, really loved about the first season of that show was how it didn't lean on and rely on or even introduce the familiar. Like, it stood on its own 2 feet as its own thing, you know? But, yeah, so I hope it doesn't just kind of get bogged down in cameos and stuff, which, you know, the show is about Boba Fett. And, isn't that a big enough cameo where we don't need to have a bunch of cameos? Like, the Wookiee is kind of cool because that is a relatively, in the grand scheme of things, a relatively unknown character. Look, I mean, I talked to a few of my buddies the other night when we were at a bar. We were having hey, we haven't seen each other in a long time night. And we were talking Book of Boba Fett. None of them knew who that character was. I barely know who that character is, just by osmosis of being a Star Wars fan and knowing that, like, the Dr. Aphra comics exist, right? So that's kind of a cool cameo because it's almost like most people aren't going to get it, which is kind of neat. But yeah, anyway. I'm kind of with you. Where did I go? Also, it's kind of annoying once again being stuck on Tatooine. Star Wars Galaxy stopped showing me the same place. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Obviously, I think a Book of Boba Fett show, a Boba Fett show makes sense on Tatooine. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm in complete agreement with locations, with characters. I'm the guy who constantly wants new stuff. So, yeah, when we continue to like revisit the same things over and over again, to me at least, it gets kind of stale and stagnant. I know a lot of people just love seeing the familiar, and I get it, but like, I don't know. It's kind of maybe I'm deeply in the minority when it comes to this opinion, but if we never see another familiar face in a Star Wars production again, and it's all new characters, I would be maybe more happy with that than the alternative, But anyway. LOL, I like when people call the sequels trash but praise the prequels. Yeah, some guy 99. Yeah, it's super weird, man. I'm 35, right? I grew up in the prequel era. I was 13 when The Phantom Menace came out. And like, it was nothing but negativity at comic shops that I went to, or in Yahoo chat rooms, or the Force.net forums, nothing but negativity. So like, growing up and seeing those movies just completely trashed 24/7, and now all of a sudden they're like held up on this pedestal. And I understand it's what you grow up with. You're gonna like what you like, right? I get it from that perspective, but like seeing people holding them up and comparing them to Shakespeare and like as if they're like brilliant, and it's so weird to me. It's so weird to me. Just because 20 years ago, 3 years ago now, damn, when The Phantom Menace came out, it was a wildly different story. It was a completely different goddamn universe. But yeah, I'm excited. 2 days, Book of Boba Fett, Wednesday. Yeah, we'll see. I like that flashback. I like that, Jake. Revenge of the Sith is actually my favorite prequel is The Phantom Menace, and I do not try to hide the fact that is because of nostalgia. Like, I was 13 years old when The Phantom Menace came out. I rode that hype train right into the goddamn wall. Saw the movie like 4 times in the theaters. And I just, more so than the movie itself, like, I have a lot of nostalgia for that build-up, for that anticipation, So I think that's why it's my favorite prequel movie. It seems the most grounded and down-to-earth, and it actually has some practical goddamn effects. And yeah, the Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, I was a little older, when those came out. When it came out in 2005, Attack of the Clones, so I would have been 19. Is that right? Yeah, 19. Yeah, I was already cynical. I had already spent 6 years on the Force.net forums. Fanboy Imus Prime says, Is it me or the whole geode mess from a while ago utterly hilarious when you realize it took the people that complained about him a month to find out about him? Yeah, it's weird, man. I completely look, if there's something in Star Wars you don't like, talk about it. Make as many videos as you want. I mean, you might kind of seem like a grifting, money hungry dipshit, but go for it. But when people complain about silly things like geode, like, come on, man. Come on. You just, it's so dumb. I agree, some guy says the Phantom Menace is the closest to the OT in terms of visuals, and I respect that. And that's probably why it appeals to me more than the other two as well. Yeah. Oscar Rodriguez, thank you so much for the super chat. First super chat and channel support of this stream. Oscar says, I personally loved Boba Fett Episode 2. It's Star Wars at its most raw and introspective. It has the spirit of Cormac McCarthy. Tall tale. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I really enjoyed Episode 2. To tell you the truth, man, I like this show way more than I anticipated. And I like the narrative structure that they're doing too. They're kind of showing us kind of the build up to the present day. I didn't really necessarily expect them to do that. To tell you the truth, and maybe this was common knowledge before the show came out. But I don't really look up anything nowadays. I don't pay much attention to news, Star Wars news or anything like that. But I was kind of surprised to see. I going into the show, I anticipated or I expected it to be like all completely from like escaping the Sarlacc pit onward. I didn't really expect them to kind of dabble in present day, like a Mandalorian time frame, if that makes sense. Like, and I know that that's not that far off in terms of time, but I kind of expected it to be just straightforward, like out of the Sarlacc onward. I'm kind of pleasantly surprised that it's not 100% that. They're kind of building up to present day and kind of where we saw him in The Mandalorian, you know, which is an avenue that I did not expect them to go down, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. But yeah, I'm curious where it's all going to go, Oscar. Episode 2 really pulled me in way more than Episode 1. Episode 1 was fine. I think that's how I described it in one of my videos. It was okay. It was fine. Episode 2 really pulled me in, wanting me to, wanting to see more, wanting to see what twists and turns they have in store, you know. But yeah, we'll see, man. I appreciate that, Oscar. What Cormac McCarthy have I? I think The Road is the only. It's like I think honestly, No Country for Old Men. The Road, I believe, is the only actual novel I've ever read of his. I'm pretty sure that's the only novel that I've ever read of his. Yeah, I'll have to look, but trying to get more into reading than I have been in the past couple years, Oscar. Especially this past year, I've only read one book, or 20. That's just because, you know, school, studying, training, and all that stuff. But kind of jumping back into it, I started reading the Light of the Jedi, the High Republic novel, and I went on a 3-mile. You guys know that I run. I'm a runner. I love running, but my heel is super fucked up, man. It's what happens when you start getting older, I guess. So I bought a 40-pound weighted vest, and I went on a 3-mile walk today with that on, and I listened to an audiobook called The Midnight Library. I downloaded it. I had some Google Play money, and I like it so far. It's interesting. Something different than I usually read, right? But anyway. Trying to get back into reading like I used to. Fabian, yeah, eventually, so the 2003 like mini series or whatever you want to call it, the the Clone Wars 2003 like 2-hour thing. That has been really, really, really high on my list of things that I need to watch for like 5 years. But just because people constantly, want me to watch it, recommend it, and for whatever reason, I've never sat down to watch it. It's kind of crazy. But eventually I will. Eventually. Gary, I definitely like the Clone Wars more than the prequels themselves. Especially, again, I have a lot of nostalgia for the Phantom Menace. I think it's the most down-to-earth and the most similar visually and maybe narratively to the original. So I do have a lot of love for that. And obviously, as I said, I'm not trying to hide the fact that it's a lot of that is due to nostalgia. But overall, I think the Clone Wars does a better job of describing the prequels than the prequels do. And again, that's expected. You have, 7 seasons to kind of explore this timeline, explore these characters. So it goes without saying that, they're going to be able to kind of display what's going on in that era more than 3 films can, Yeah. Jacob says, have you seen Patton Oswalt predict exactly how they would shoot Boba Fett come out of the Sarlacc pit? Is that during his, 30 Rock monologue? Or, no, Parks and Rec. That was Parks and Rec, right? Parks and Rec. I have seen that monologue years ago when that episode aired. I don't remember any of it, but I have seen that. I'll have to watch that again. Is that true? Childish asks, what do you think about the possible return of Mace Windu? I don't know, man. I don't like that kind of stuff. I'm not a fan. And look, we have Boba Fett. We have the Emperor Palpatine now. Boba Fett, Palpatine, Darth Maul. There's a long history of Star Wars characters coming back, coming back from the dead. To me, it's kind of boring to me, man. Like the idea of it's like, is a character ever dead in Star Wars? Damn it! Does every character need to be resurrected? Can't we make new characters? I've never been a fan of character resurrection or whatever you want to call it. Now, if they did like a Mace Windu prequel, fine, whatever. But no, I don't like. I've never liked the idea of constantly relying on characters that we've seen or we've seen dead on screen. Yeah. And I can separate the two from my brain. Like, so for example, I really like how they handled Darth Maul in the Clone Wars. All right. I'm a big fan of Darth Maul in the Clone Wars. It's great. Fun character, great character, good adversary. I liked it. But the general idea of this character getting cut in half, falling down a giant pit, and then being resurrected, why? The general idea is boring to me. Can't there be a new adversary? Can't there be a new villain? I don't understand, like, people's, I get it, we're all different, but I don't understand people's desire to just constantly revisit the same characters over and over and over again. I don't know. That's just me. But yeah. Star Wars should constantly be looking to the future. You know, with new tales, new stories, new characters. Yeah. That's the bread and butter of the future of a franchise, in my opinion. But yeah, anyway. If the character dies off screen, they're not dead. Oh my goodness. So we need to see them. Tuxedo. We need the camera to hold on a character's face for 15 seconds after they stop breathing. We need to actually minutes after they stop breathing, because you never know. Maybe they're great at holding their breath, or maybe somebody comes in at the 3-minute mark and starts performing CPR. We need to see them take their last dying breaths as the camera continues to hold on them. That's when a character is truly dead. Otherwise, you never know. They might be back. You never know. Porkins might be back, man. We didn't see his dead body. We just saw his X-Wing explode. We need to see Porkins' body. Otherwise, you never know. Porkins could be back. And it's not a problem with, like, look, this is not an issue with modern Star Wars exclusively. I mean, this has been an issue for decades with Boba Fett did not come back from the dead with modern Star Wars and like Disney's ownership. That's been a thing for decades. Same thing with Darth Maul. Darth Maul was resurrected pre-Disney. It's been hell. Even the Emperor was cloned, right? So it's not a new thing. It's been a thing for a very long time. So. Gary asked, do you think they are going to turn Boba Fett into a quote-unquote good guy in the show, or keep him an anti-hero? Really hope they keep him an anti-hero. One sec.
It's not even really the same character. What little
that's true.
there was has evolved into the Boba we see in the show. So, do you like him more or less?
Can you give a percentage? 1 sec, Vince. I appreciate that, man. Give me 1 sec. Where did I see that? Who was that? Gary? I almost see him as a good guy right now, in a way. I don't see him as like a through and through anti-hero, or even that much of a hard ass, Gary. I almost expect this to be, and again, I'm probably wrong. Maybe this is the way I want it to go in my head, Gary, but like, I almost see this being the good side of Boba. Like, this is good guy Boba, and I almost anticipate, as the show goes on, him becoming more and more and more cutthroat, realizing that respect is only going to get him so far. You know what I mean? Maybe he starts to kind of become more of that anti-hero, of that I don't know, that asshole. I don't know. We'll see. Let me take a quick sip. Vince says, if we're being honest, it's not even really the same character. What little character there was has evolved into the Boba we see in the show. So do you like him more or less? Can you give a percentage? I like the character himself in the show. You're right, though. There was such little known. I mean, other than like seeing him as a kid in the Clone Wars and stuff like that, and maybe some comic appearances and whatnot. It kind of is a blur to me what Boba Fett's Legends and canon stuff is. It all kind of blends together. I don't really know what is and what isn't canon and Legends when it comes to Fett. But no, I enjoy the character of Boba Fett more in this show than I anticipated. I still like him as the just kind of the background gunslinger who says 3 sentences, just because you need somebody like that. The mystery is interesting to me, you know. But again, Vince, like I've said this before, my enjoyment of the show and enjoyment of that character really has nothing to do with Boba Fett. You could take the name Boba Fett out of the show. You could take the character Boba Fett out of the show and just have it be a show about a random dude, a brand new character who comes to fill the power vacuum that Jabba's death created. And I would honestly enjoy the show just as much, because does it really matter, as of right now, I guess, that it's Boba Fett? I mean, really, does it? The interesting part of the show is not Boba Fett. The interesting part of the show is that power vacuum and how everybody's kind of vying for power. And you have these different players around Mos Espa and on Tatooine, these different crime lords, these crime syndicates. You have this entire like underworld that is bubbling and brewing, and that's the interesting part. And somebody steps in to kind of take the helm. The fact that it's Boba Fett, I don't know. Doesn't matter to me. Could be, as I've said, it could be Jim the crime boss, Jim the Don, Jim the Godfather. I don't know. Yeah, probably the movies. I'm sure there's tons of stuff I don't know about. Yeah, same here, man. Like, I remember in the Clone Wars, it all kind of blends together. But I remember in the Clone Wars, he ran some missions with Bosk, I think, and some other bounty hunters. Dengar was a part of his crew too, correct? It's been a long time since I've watched the Clone Wars or thought about those episodes. But yeah, he has kind of like a crew that he pals around with. And he's... Somebody give me a quick breakdown. I can't really remember. But yeah. Do you like it more, Vince, than you anticipated? I'm curious. I appreciate that support this morning, man. It's good to see you. Caretaker Wanted, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support this morning. Good to see you. Caretaker says, I like that we're seeing Tuskens as people. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things that kind of modern Star Wars has done. And it kind of started with, I guess, The Mandalorian. I'm trying to think of other Tuskens appearing in shows. But yeah, The Mandalorian did a good job of kind of hinting at some of the Tusken Raider like lore expansion. I really like how they kind of show the sign language, and how they work together with Cobb Vanth's crew, and that was a nice little tease of what was to come in the book of Boba Fett, and yeah, kind of exploring the world of Tusken Raiders and humanizing them in a way, or empathizing with them. That they're not, they're a misunderstood people. That there's more to them than just being like desert scavengers. It's one of my favorite things that we've kind of explored in modern Star Wars for sure. But yeah, I'm 100% with you, Caretaker. I love what they've done with Tuskens, and I'm really curious the direction it's going to go. Yeah. Brent Stewart, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support. Generous super chat and channel support this morning. Brent, I don't see a message posted. If you forgot to post a message, I'm going to keep an eye on the chat for your name. But if you just wanted to be a silent supporter, I appreciate the hell out of it, man. Cheers. But again, I'm going to keep an eye on the chat if you wanted to post a message and maybe forgot or something messed up. Oh, now it says message retracted, so I'm going to keep an eye on the chat. But I appreciate that, Brent. Please no pod. Oh, dude, me and my daughter played pod race, the N64 pod racing game. When was it? Saturday morning. I have it on my PC, and I plugged in my controller, and she's 3.5. She's almost 4. She'll be 4 in April. But she would hold down like the acceleration. Held down the acceleration button, and I would steer, just because if she doesn't, she usually just spin. We we use teamwork. Sometimes we'll play like a game on the Xbox or something together, and she'll do that. She'll like hold the acceleration button or the walk button or whatever, and then I'll steer. But yeah, she thought it was fun. But yeah. Brent Stewart, once again, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support this morning. Brent says, people forget people often drastically change after having a near-death experience. The Sarlacc nearly killed him. Yeah, no, and the thing is, we, as Vince said earlier, we never really know that much about Boba. We see him a bit in the Clone Wars, and then a lot of the kind of, I don't know, what would you call it? The time between, like, young Boba and present Boba is kind of a blur. It's kind of a mystery. It hasn't really been explored that much. So, I'm sure even pre-Sarlacc, even pre-Empire, Return of the Jedi, you know, there's some interesting tidbits that could be explored there. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Maybe it's more than just the Sarlacc and the near death and all that kind of stuff, because I'm sure he's had near death experiences before, being the gunslinger Wild West bounty hunter. But maybe it was also his kind of interactions with the Tusken Raiders, you know, while basically being imprisoned. What's the term? What's the term I'm thinking of? There's a syndrome, and I'm not saying this is the case, but there's something that just popped into my head. There's this like what is it called? It's like when you're in prison, but you start to like really, really befriend your those who have you in prison. What is it called? Somebody's gonna know what I'm talking about. I can't remember. But yeah, characters change. And even then, you can say that, but we haven't really known much about the character of Boba Fett, right? So, yeah. Obviously, the flashbacks, more so than even Sarlacc. We have the flashbacks of him holding his father's head. We have the flashback of his father flying around on Kamino in Slave 1. Stockholm Syndrome. Thank you, Aiden. And Catherine. Yeah. But, I'm not saying that's the case, but it's kind of interesting. Oh, it's not recognized by doctors? Ah. Oh, it's not a real thing. Okay. Yeah, I've never looked into it. It's just something that I've heard about before. Interesting. But, yeah. Characters change. People change. Start to empathize with folks, and maybe he saw how things were ran for so long. And when you get into power, maybe you want to change things up. Yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, Brent. Cheers, man. First time seeing you live. Live-y. Well, thanks for tuning in, Aaron. I appreciate that. So from what I'm getting, flashbacks are taking place during the events of Return of the Jedi. Yeah, it's kind of, I'm assuming so. I mean, he seems to escape the Sarlacc pit pretty quick, so whether it be days or weeks or months after that, who knows? But I would assume it's it butts up pretty well with the events of Return of the Jedi. Yeah, for sure, Nico. Doesn't mean that they're getting redeemed. It makes them relatable. Absolutely. Not just a villain in a mask or the boogeyman, you know. It makes villains, it makes bad guys to me more frightening when you kind of you learn their motivations. You learn what makes them tick. You know, to me, that makes villains more dangerous or more, I don't know, when you see their motivations, when you see that they think that they're doing the right thing, do you know what I mean? That's what makes a villain terrifying. I mean, you don't have to look further than history, not that a couple hundred years of history to see just monsters who believed that they were doing the right thing, right? That's what makes a villain terrifying, when they believe that these horrific actions that they're taking is the right thing. And it's not just a villain in a mask, a mustache twirling villain. They think they're doing the right thing. That's what's creepy. Oh yeah, anyway. I didn't watch a single second of it, Evan, and honestly, it doesn't get me all that excited. I mean, like, yeah. Evans said, thoughts on the Jaguars somehow beating the Colts yesterday. I'm all for it. The Eagles got a better pick from the Colts loss. Yeah, I mean, I have not watched an entire Jags game since the first game of the season. Yeah. Aaron says, I'm also okay with Disney Star Wars. Of course, it's not like classics, but you're the only one who doesn't get all pissed off by their movie. Well, I've always said this, Aaron, like, you know, so I was 13 when the prequels came out, when Phantom Menace came out. My experience with Star Wars back then and Star Wars today isn't all that different. I mean, there's Star Wars back then that I did not like, and there's Star Wars back then that I did like. And today, in the year 2022, guess what? Not much has changed. There's Star Wars today that I like, and there's Star Wars today that I don't like. So, I mean, yeah. And what do you consider classics? That's what's funny is like, oh, one sec.
Check out the Man with No Name trilogy. Lee Van Cleef, I feel inspired Boba and Cad Bane too. And the shows seem to chase the spaghetti western feel.
Vince,
they're just damn good movies.
Vince, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support once again, man. Give me one sec. But well, no, I think I finished my thought. There you go. Yeah, it's interesting. People, what you say, it's not like the classics, right? For me, the classics, 4, 5, and 6. That's the classics. That's what I grew up with. For somebody younger than me, their classics might be the prequels, you know. And then 20 years from now, damn it, the sequels might be considered classics. And the sequel fans are going to be shitting all over the whatever you call something after the sequels. The sequels? I don't know. Anyway. Vince, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support once again. Vince says, need everybody to check out the Man with No Name trilogy. Lee Van Cleef, I feel inspired Boba and Cad Bane too. And the shows seem to chase the spaghetti western feel. Plus, they're just damn good movies. I honestly don't think I've seen all of them. Let me see. Name trilogy. I know I've seen. Okay, so I have seen Fistful of Dollars, and I have seen The Good and the Bad and the Ugly. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I honestly don't think I've seen a few dollars more. I honestly don't think I've ever seen it. But yeah, there is no. It's kind of fun to see to watch movies that inspired the movies that you love, right? And I'm curious what Star Wars fans who have never seen any of these movies, the Clint Eastwoods, the Fistful of Dollars, all that kind of stuff, what they might think of when it comes to Star Wars and watching, you know, some of these westerns that are so I don't think I knew this, Vince. It says A Fistful of Dollars was directly adapted from Kurosawa's Yojimbo. I don't think I ever knew that. So it was the subject of a lawsuit by Yojimbo's producers. Yojimbo's protagonist, an unconventional Ronin samurai, played by bears a striking resemblance to Eastwood's character. Both are quiet, gruff, eccentric characters with a strong but unorthodox sense of Justice and Extraordinary. Oh, it's a direct adaptation, and it was not authorized. Is that what the case is? Interesting. Huh? I never knew that. So, yeah, I wonder. I mean, A New Hope has always been described as kind of a Western. And obviously Boba Fett's character with the helmet on and visually a striking resemblance, right? But also attitude, swagger. As little as we see of him in the prequels, in the original trilogy, it's undeniable that there is, even with Cad Bane, there's undeniable that it's heavily inspired. But interesting. Yeah, it's so somebody who has never seen, this is a little off topic, but somebody who is, but I guess it's kind of related, but somebody who has never seen like The Matrix, and then maybe they've watched modern movies that heavily are inspired by The Matrix. When you go back to watch The Matrix and you've never seen it, but you've seen all the things that were inspired by it, what do you think of the original thing that inspired so much else? Do you because you're not watching it with fresh eyes. You're not watching it as the audience at the time watched it, where it was something so fresh and new and introduced so much new technology for movie making even. But you've seen what was inspired by it. Do you not appreciate the original flash of inspiration as you may have if you would have seen it when it first came out prior to everything else? I don't know. It's interesting. Our favorite Star Wars figures are getting old. Yeah, for sure. Oh, Subterrell Prospector, are you here, or was this a renewal? Subterrell, if you are here, thank you so much for becoming the latest member of the fleet. I do have a sneaking suspicion that this was an automatic renewal. Sometimes that happens where I just happen to be live streaming when somebody's fleet membership gets renewed, and then it notifies all of us that someone renewed their fleet membership. But Subterrell, either way, man, thank you so much for becoming a member of the fleet. Cheers, Subterrell. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the fleet. Everybody in the chat say welcome to the fleet, Subterrell. I greatly appreciate it. Oh, interesting. Jason says, this was my exact experience with The Matrix. I thought it was fine and have never felt the need to watch it again. Interesting. Yeah, so I didn't see The Matrix in the theater. I remember seeing The Matrix. I saw The Matrix for the first time. My dad brought home a rented copy from, I think it was Hollywood Video. Probably on VHS at the time. And, or maybe DVD. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But, that's the first. I didn't see it in the theater. 1999. I don't know when the VHS came out. Maybe a year later. Actually, I'm going to look that up. Because VHSs and DVDs and stuff used to come out much later than they do now. Or even... the first time that I remember going, whoa, the DVDs are already out, was for maybe The Dark Knight. Maybe it was Batman Begins. One of those two. I think it was The Dark Knight. But yeah, the first time that I was like, holy shit, the DVD is already out, was The Dark Knight. It was like 3-4 months. Which, yeah, VHS release date. So The Matrix was released on Laserdisc September 21st, 1999. It was also released on VHS December 1999. So The Matrix 1999. So December. What month did The Matrix come out? March. Okay, so yeah, from March until December. We're not going to count March because it was late March. So we'll say April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. 9 months. 9 months for The Matrix from the time it was in the theaters to the time it got out on VHS. So I never saw it in the theaters. I saw it when my dad rented it from Hollywood Video in December of 1999, probably. And that's when I first watched it. And I remember being completely blown away. I wish I would have seen it in the theaters, but yeah. Shit, it might have been 2000, the year 2000 by the time I saw it, to tell you the truth. I'm just trying to think of the timeline when we moved to Florida from Georgia. And I remember sitting in my living room with a couple of my buddies, who I don't know if I would have known them in 1999. So it might have been like a solid year later after the movie came out from the theater. I don't know. Oh, Sub Terrell, you are here. Thank you so much for the super chat and the channel support and the fleet membership, man. Great to see you. Sub Terrell says, hey, HG, long time. Hope you're well. Got between a dog fight the other day, so I'm just using my PTO healing. Watching episode 2 renewal. Oh, shit. Yikes. That happened to one of my wife's friends. I would say 5 years ago. She was walking her dog, and then a pit bull was unleashed in a neighbor's yard, and it came over, and instead of going after the dog, it went after her and took like a giant chunk out of her calf. She was luckily we lived right around the corner, and like ran over, and ambulance came and everything. But like, yeah, getting between a dog fight can be I don't know, it can be kind of crazy. Hope you're doing well, man. Hope it's not too crazy. But paid time off for interfering and getting what happened. I'm gonna keep an eye on the chat. If you don't want to go into it, I understand. But yeah, things are going good, Sub Terrell. All done with training. The past year was a whirlwind. Now I'm just waiting to get hired on with a department. It's kind of interesting how there's a waiting list from county to county. So, just kind of hanging in there, waiting to get on. They were my dogs, LOL. It was my dumbass decision. Oh, gotcha. Well, you don't want your dogs to hurt one another, right? Yeah. But, yeah. I guess enjoy sitting down to watch some Attack of the Clones with your paid time off. But, yeah, hopefully the doggies are all right. But I appreciate that, Sub Terrell. Other than that, hope things are going well for you, man. Yeah, Attack of the Clones is probably my least favorite Star Wars movie. But I'd like to watch it again nowadays. I haven't watched any... I did watch The Phantom Menace. I was going to say I haven't watched any prequel movies since I watched The Clone Wars. But that's not true. I did watch The Phantom Menace. I finished The Clone Wars in 2019, I believe. Like... What? Let me see. When did let's see, Clone Wars Season 7. Season 7 of the Clone Wars came out in 2020. So I actually finished the Clone Wars, I think, a week before Season 7 premiered. It was something like that. And I have not watched... I don't think I've watched any prequels since then, at least, but yeah. Before The Force Awakens, I watched all the Star Wars movies. I watched the prequels. I watched everything. Since then, I have not. Yeah. Your least favorite too? Gotcha. There you go, Vince. I was at... a couple of my buddies came in town over the weekend. One of my good friends that I've known for... Actually, the guy who I went to see Revenge of the Sith with opening night, he dressed up as Han. I was Greedo. He moved back into town from Chicago, and we were all hanging out, getting beers. We stayed the night at his new place, and seeing my friends seeing my cabin friends, basically, that I've talked about before. And we got on the topic of Star Wars, and like the rise. I kept at some point I was like, I think the Rise of Skywalker might be my least favorite Star Wars movie. Just it was, you know, I was kind of anticipating being disappointed going into Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, but like I had high hopes for Rise of Skywalker, so that kind of factors into to enjoyment levels as well, you know. But yeah. Oh shit, we're already almost out at an hour, guys. That went by fast. I gotta leave the house in about an hour. Let's see. So yeah, I think my plans are every Thursday is going to be a Throwback Thursday stream. This upcoming Thursday is going to be Republic Commando. I'm going to start playing that. I think I'm going to play that early in the morning, 9 in the morning until maybe 11:30 or so. Actually, I'll probably play later than that because my wife usually has a half day on Thursday, so she usually picks up my daughter from school. So I might be able to play it for a while, much longer than I originally thought. That would be cool. So yeah, that's on the new schedule. Every Thursday is going to be a Throwback Thursday stream where I play an old Star Wars game. And do you know what I have a huge desire to play nowadays? For whatever reason, I want to buy The Sims 4. Sims 4. It's like $5 on Origin right now. Because EA gave me the Star Wars Sims 4 expansion pack. But guess what I don't own? I don't own The Sims 4. So I've never been able to play it. I kind of want to play The Sims 4 with the Star Wars expansion pack and live stream like me building a Star Wars house, you know. I think that'd be kind of cool. So maybe I'll do that in the not too distant future. Yeah. Anyway. What else was I going to say? Other than that, man, I'm probably going to try to get a video uploaded tomorrow. And maybe stream tomorrow. Oh, I'm definitely going to be... okay. So tomorrow night, I'm going to be doing a live stream. Probably going to be streaming for 2 hours tomorrow night. It's This Is Us night. And my wife watches that show. And it's usually my time to watch like some Next Generation. But I'm going to start streaming. I'm going to start playing maybe some Battlefront tomorrow night. Yeah, anyway. All right, guys, that's it for me. Tomorrow night, probably a little Battlefront stream, or maybe I'll fire up Fallen Order again for the first time since I played it and beat it when it first came out. Or maybe that's when I'll start my Sims rabbit hole. There you go, Subterrell. Anyway, cheers, guys. Thanks for hanging out this morning. It is 10:56 a.m. We went an hour. That's just good time. To everybody who supported the channel through Super Chats or becoming a member of the Fleet, Subterrell, thank you so much. Cheers. The channel survives because of you guys. To everybody who hung out in the chat and shot the shit. Thanks, man. All right, so I'll see you either tomorrow night for a live stream, or maybe Thursday for a live stream, or maybe blah, blah, blah for a live stream, or maybe blah, blah, blah for a live stream. Anyway, I'll see you soon. Cool? Cool. Let's go to the mall. All right? Have a fantastic rest of your morning, your afternoon, your evening, wherever you are on planet Earth. And I will catch you all on the flip side. See ya!